Thank you for joining us for another episode of Beyond the Clouds. I am, as always, joined by my co-host Declan. Today we have our special guest, my good friend Joe Bradley. How you doing, sir?
I'm well. Yourself?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
I know you had to drive quite a ways to get here.
Yeah, it was brutal, man. There was
brutal.
Probably a total of 2 miles.
Yeah.
That I don't want to do again.
Yeah.
If possible.
Yeah, I'm a little salty. I had to drive about 35 to get here.
Yeah.
But, you know.
2 school zones I think I had to go through.
Yeah.
I just came to work today and I was automatically here. So.
Yeah, see, I'd feel like I had to go through like 2 time zones to get here.
Yeah.
Or at least 2 area codes.
I was going to say 2 area codes. 602, 480.
Yeah. I started off in 623, went through the 602 over to 480.
What was first? Was it
602 was
602 was first,
yeah.
So I came in right after 480 was created, so I've always been, repping the 480.
Right.
So.
Good stuff. So either way, we're going to follow the same format that we usually do. We're going to do some product comparisons. This one's going to be extra fun because this time, this is the Beyond the Clouds CBD edition. For those of you that don't know Joe Bradley, you will. And if you know anything about CBD or want to know anything about a CBD, this is the guy you want to talk to. So today, we are going to be comparing 2 CBD products here. Now, I've actually only had one of these so far. I've had this one here, one of my favorite things in life. So we're going to see if the Peach Rings one what's the word I'm looking for? If it matches up, if it's good enough, as good as, whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, as other peach rings, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've certainly had peach rings before. I've never had CBD peach rings before.
Right.
But before we get into the fun of this part, I will say this one right here is awesome. I have had several different brands of CBD gummies, and the thing I really like about these is there's no CBD flavor to it.
Right.
Like it tastes just like I'm eating like a gummy bear or something like that.
Right.
So let's get this party started.
Let's do it. So while they're opening them, the one thing I'd say is that Dave's opening the Sour Cadets, and so there's 20 Sour Cadets in a package. There's 200 milligrams of CBD in both. However, there's 5 pieces in the peach rings, so there's actually 40 milligrams per piece.
Oh,
the peach rings versus the Sour Cadets, because we can fit more in a package, are roughly 10 milligrams per piece.
That totally makes sense.
So comparing the two, you would need to eat 4 of these to 1 of those.
So I'm just gonna eat a piece of this one then.
Yeah.
So I use this product in my own personal life because it's for me. I know there's a lot of different uses for CBD. I personally use them.
Sure.
I'll eat one of these half hour, 45 minutes before I want to go to sleep, just so when I'm just super relaxed when I go to sleep.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to be, 40, 50? I don't know if I want to be 50 milligrams of relaxed right now. So I'm just gonna have a little piece of this.
Yeah. Just take a bite.
Yeah. So I'll have my peach ring segment
Here, I'll eat the other half.
All right, there you go.
It managed to get stuck in my mustache while I was eating.
So I gotta say, I really like this, and this actually surprised me because I think, to me, it actually doesn't taste like a peach ring. Because peach rings, when you just eat in the candy, it usually tastes like that, like artificial peach, and they're good for sure.
Right.
But this, it actually tastes like a peach. Like it's got that for lack of a better way of saying it, it has like the fuzzy.
The natural taste.
Yeah.
To it. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, with it's one of the things I long for in flavors. The Sour Cadets are a little bit different. They just taste like sour sugar, but in a lot of our vape flavors, we use pairings of recipes that will burn off earlier and later, so that we can kind of layer the flavor effect. And the more natural it tastes, the more I'm intrigued.
Yeah. No, you knocked it out of the park with those.
Awesome.
So, I'm eating one of the Sour Cadets now. Like I said, I've had one of these every day for about 3 weeks now. So I already know they're amazing.
I often make the mistake of eating an entire package at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm snacking, it's after lunch, and I'm like, oh yeah, I have these just in abundance around me.
Yeah.
It's like when we pick these up at my store, we all try to pack, and honestly, I think I ate most of the pack and didn't let my employees have any because they were that good. I'm just like, no, you can have one. I'm gonna take the rest of the pack for myself because they're that good.
My only problem is I then want to take a nap immediately after.
Yeah.
The drive home is brutal because all the stopping, and I'm just like, I'm falling asleep at the stoplights, and so, the funny thing is, if you were to eat it in the morning, so I do eat a small amount of CBD in the morning, but it kind of gives me a little bit of a boost, right, first thing. But definitely in the middle of the day, if I do it any time, I need to be prepared for a nap.
No, I totally agree. Like, I've actually tried that before, too. You know, the last time I had a day off, I just woke up and I was like, oh, I'm going to eat one of these right now and just kind of be mellow all day. Yeah. And in that instance, I was actually disappointed because it didn't mellow me out. It kind of gave me that clear-headed, and I actually decided I was going to do some work.
Right.
Well, and the thing
Thanks,
I love,
Joe, making me work on my day off.
Yeah, no problem.
The thing I love too is just the ease of use of this product, honestly, because you know you're just eating it. It's not like there's any like setup involved or like you're having to drip anything into a tank or oil or anything like that. You're just literally eating it, and you can, you know, the bags are super compact, take them anywhere. So
you know, that's the core essence of making CBD available to everybody. Has always been, you know, when somebody calls me and they say, hey, what's the best way for me to take it? It's like, well, everybody's different.
Yeah,
you know,
however
like,
you want to.
What's your preferred method of consumption? Like, if I try to put a vape in front of you, and more importantly, not even a vape, I just give you a bottle of e-liquid like this. I'm hoping you have everything required to do it.
Yeah.
I even get people that call me and they're like, hey, this is safe to put under your tongue, right? And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, it's safe.
That's not what it's built for, but...
The problem is it's 30% flavor, where when we do sublinguals, it's 1%.
Yeah.
So they can do it for sure, but really the best way would be to, you know, put it into their coffee.
Yeah, and you know, I know there's a lot of crossover between the vape and CBD markets, hence why we're doing a CBD edition of the Vape Show.
Right.
So you know, but for the people that want CBD that are not vapors or have no interest in vaping, you know, this is pretty much everything that you need. Like, if you have like a mouth and a hand and this, you're good to go.
Yeah.
So I can definitely appreciate that.
For those of you that only have feet, they have no two hands. He's not trying to discriminate against you.
No,
you definitely find a way.
No, there are workarounds if you don't have hands. I don't know how you would do it.
Dave will come feed it to you for free.
Yeah, sure. No, that sounds fun.
Yeah. All limbs matter.
All limbs matter. Yeah.
All right.
All lack of limbs matter too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
True.
So anyway, you know, yes, the thing is, like, this is probably the easiest way for people on the go. They can stop. And it's really designed to be a C-store, convenience store style product.
Yeah.
And like you said, the crossover of CBD into vape, it's changing now, but a year ago, even 4 years ago, the only place people could get CBD was a vape shop.
Yeah.
And it's still kind of that thing where, like, those of us that are the most knowledgeable in CBD, they're hearing from their doctors, hey, find out about CBD. We can't tell you anything about it, but you should look into it.
Yeah.
And then they come to us. They can't go to their pharmacist. They can't go to their doctor for information. So here we are, vape shop employees, becoming the pharmacist doctor bridge.
Yeah.
And so having multiple ways for people to consume is the only way you're really going to offer the best to your consumer.
Yeah.
Especially with tinctures and hell, even suppositories, man. Some people prefer that.
So that's what I was gonna say. If you don't have a mouth, there is another way you can take these.
Yeah, I guess it would be fast absorption. Yeah.
Okay, so you know, during the segment, we usually try to, you know, declare a winner, declare that there is no winner. So, what's your opinion between the two? If you had to pick one, which one?
I would have to say the Sour Cadets.
The Sour Cadets?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of
the peach
rings.
rings.
The peach rings, honestly.
Yeah.
My favorite.
It's that 40 milligrams you just took.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll say I'm gonna go with the Sour Cadets too, not because of the taste, just because of the smaller dosage.
Okay. Yeah.
Taste-wise, like, honestly, like, I would probably, you know, if they were identical in every way except for the taste, I would probably just swap between the two.
Awesome.
Yeah, but, you know, 40 milligram is more than I realistically need, you know, for what I'm using it for. I eat one of these a day, and that's good for me.
Right.
So.
And the plus side is if you do build up a tolerance, or if somebody has a high tolerance, our price point is phenomenal.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, no, your price point's ridiculously good.
The fact was, like, after we got the bags done and we looked at the cost, it was like, man, there's margins along everywhere, so the consumer can still get the most that they need, you know, in nice dosable options for, you know, under $20.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess the winner or loser is totally subjective in this one. If you like peach and you need a little bit more CBD, right here. If you don't like peach, or if you want something a little bit more sour, you want smaller dosage, right here. Honestly, you're not going to go wrong either way. So, so we will be back. We're going to talk about some CBD advocacy after this.
All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Tower cleared.
Okay, we got a roll program.
Plus 30 seconds. Altitude's 2 miles. Velocity 2,195 feet per second.
And we're back. Dude, I gotta say, like, and I'm sure the majority of the people watching this would agree with me, like, all this content here is usually garbage, but, like, those commercials, that's why people watch us, I think. So we're going to keep trying to do what we can to keep those good. That one that you just watched was particularly good, and I'm saying that having no idea what we're putting in there yet. So either way, it has come time for our advocacy segment. Unlike in previous and future episodes where I do most of the talking in this, since this is the CBD edition, I'm going to have Mr. Joe Bradley take it away here, and he's going to talk about some advocacy related to CBD. The thing that I've heard about going on in CBD right now is the difference between like marijuana-based CBD and hemp-based CBD. Something about a farm bill. I'll be honest, I don't know too much about it because it doesn't directly relate to my industry.
Sure.
But I hear you're an expert at that, so tell me what's going on.
All right, so I'll try to give you the Reader's Digest version. So the way that we're able to sell CBD from hemp is that hemp is technically classified as cannabis. Let's start that there, and we'll come back to that.
Okay.
So hemp, when you pull it, from the ground, and you take it and you extract it into a nice, thick green goop, and you test it in a machine. It shows you what it's made of, and what it's made of are an abundance of cannabinoids, over 80 different cannabinoids, terpenes, and then also plant matter. Right. Well, when you look at that ratio, your cannabinoids are going to be very high in. Cannabinoids are the opposite that are high in marijuana. So, for instance, THC in marijuana can be as high as 30% or even higher now. With some of these strains, but the THC in hemp is typically going to be at 0.3% or lower, like a dime in a square mile compared to marijuana.
Right.
But flip flop that too. Why are we using hemp for CBD and not marijuana? Couldn't we just take out the THC from that? Sure, we could. That's actually one of the things a lot of people want to do. The problem is that not everybody's truthful in how they do that. So go back to hemp, and we see that our THC count is really low. In marijuana, our CBD count is really low. It's sometimes 0.09% in strains.
Right.
But in hemp, you can find it once extracted as high as 48% CBD.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's incredible. And they breed these strains of hemp that are as high as an 18% cultivar in dry weight. And so basically what happened was they had to develop some sort of hemp pilot project that said you can grow, hey farmers, you can grow this again for all the goods that it's used for. And really CBD from a consumer standpoint wasn't taken into consideration back then. So in the federal farm bill, the 2014 federal farm bill, federal ag bill, they stated that if a state developed a hemp pilot project, then you could work with the state, work under their rules, and that you could grow hemp as long as the dry weight of the plant of THC was less than 0.3%. So the issue is, though, like they don't talk about, well, what does that mean to, that means that I can grow CBD, basically. That's kind of what everybody's going on, is there that statement there. There's nothing in extracts, though, that say the dry weight equates out to, it should also be 0.3% by an extracted weight. Because once you extract it, it could go to 48% in the oil. It could go to 2% THC, or sorry, 48% CBD. So everybody has just kind of kept that 0.3% in extracted and dry as the standard. So basically what we've done is instead of using full spectrum hemp oil where it has all the cannabinoids and terpenes, we've gone through and we've isolated it to just CBD from hemp so that we can kind of stay away from the THC legalities of it. And that's what a lot of the industry's done.
Yeah.
And so what you're starting to see now is that states are passing laws that say every extract, like Arizona said, hey, by the way, all of the extracts from CBD and THC are illegal, and from cannabis. The problem is they're talking about marijuana, and because they said cannabis, then somebody with an article, ability goes and says, oh, they just outlawed CBD, and now you guys see it on an article that says all CBD is illegal.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that. So for those of you that don't know, Joe is also very active in the vape advocacy scene. So every time we ever, something comes out like you were just talking about where someone says, oh, they just outlawed CBD, we always get the response right away from Joe.
Yeah.
He's like, here's why that's stupid.
Right.
Here's why that's wrong, at least.
And the hard part is, like, you have people that are just warriors on their opinion. And at the end of the day...
Wait, on the internet?
Yeah. Every once in a while, there's this guy named Declan that just won't get off that shit. No, I'm just kidding. So, let me get back a little onto what I had a point and I digress a lot.
Sorry.
So, no, you're good. I have to make sure I circle back or we'll be talking about blue and red cars later. So, so the thing is that the Farm Bill is what makes it okay for us to do it. If our state has a pilot project. So because most of it was coming from Kentucky at first and then it was, domestically, it was transferring in. If it was American-grown hemp, it technically was illegal because it has to travel through states that have pilot projects. So there's all this gray area for CBD, and that's what keeps a lot of people from buying it or taking it. But in reality, the advocacy portion we're talking about is if you're passionate about hemp, if you believe it really does help people, then you should look at those articles and don't act on them. Don't share that it's illegal, because chances are that the person writing it, his opinion is wrong.
Yeah.
For us, the reason I can tell you that I know just a little bit more, and I don't claim to know everything, is that we were just acquired by one of the largest suppliers of CBD in the world. And a lot of their products started as imports from European hemp because it was the most legal at the time. And now they've started to dip into American grown and wherever the most stable area is. So the advocacy really that most people could do is if you're in Arizona or you're in a state that doesn't have a pilot project or it's just getting started, show your support anytime you see it online. If you see that they're trying, like, if you see something related to tobacco 21 and you think that's an issue that you don't like, clicking and commenting and liking the article doesn't help. Actually, like, filling something out to your senators, and it's the same thing over and over. Once you click and sign a petition, you can't say that's your advocacy. You got to keep going until you see the change happen.
Yeah.
And then only then you can maybe relax until somebody comes to try to thread it again. So.
Definitely.
Right.
So
yeah, I've kind of started noticing that like advocacy is pretty similar regardless of what the cause is.
Right.
The tactics are all kind of similar. You spread accurate information to combat the bullshit. You get in contact with the legislators and policymakers.
Right.
You try to raise public awareness of your issue, etc. And one thing that you mentioned really briefly there that I want to touch on too is, because we see this a lot in the nicotine side of things too, is whenever you see an article that is negative about whatever your issue is, don't share it. I see people share that stuff all the time and they say, oh guys, look at this, it's such bullshit.
Right.
But you know what that happens? Whenever that happens, it's spreading the bullshit. The easiest way to get rid of that bullshit is kind of like what they say with trolls on the internet in general.
Yeah,
don't feed the trolls.
Just ignore them.
Yeah. If you see something stupid, okay, leave it alone. Don't tell people about it, because that's kind of the definition of going viral. Everybody shares something.
Yeah. Whether it's
things
positive.
yeah, exactly. Whether it's something you agree with or it's something you disagree with, if you share it, you are getting views to that article.
Oh, and that sometimes you share it and you type something in, and all it does is share the damn article.
Right.
So now you're the guy that's like, hey, look, vaping's dangerous, but you buy it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's not at all what you were trying to say.
No, and the thing is, like, when you look at CBD and you look at cannabis, one of the things that I'm thankful for is that the advocacy has developed over decades for this. So much so that when you see something like California just recently, somebody did their job. They realized that they could make a statement and they could say, by the way, no edibles can contain CBD from cannabis or industrial hemp. The first time you've ever really seen anybody call out industrial hemp. So that's one of those laws where you're like, okay, they called it out, and in one of the most progressive recreational now and medical cannabis states in history. So those are the things where you look at it and go, yeah, it's probably going to get overturned. But you can't just do that. And
this is true for any sort of advocacy that we're talking about, like regardless of the topic. Like, do not wait for somebody else to do the job for you.
Yeah.
Because everybody else is doing the same thing. Everybody is waiting for somebody else to do it for you. And like I heard something a couple of years ago now, I guess, but like there's this problem where if I'm walking down the street, let's say the three of us are walking down the street, right, and we see somebody get mugged,
right,
like one of us is going to pick up our phone and we're going to call the cops.
I'm running.
Do something.
If it's the three of us, I'm out. You guys can handle your shit. I'm just kidding. I'll call the cops. I would. While I'm down the street.
Yeah.
Officer, they're getting beat up.
Yeah, but
I'm just kidding.
But if we're at a concert or something like that and we see the same thing happen, that was my phone. Sorry.
That's right. Wasn't me.
But if we're at a concert and we see something happen where there's 300 people or whatever they're going to see this same thing happen, nobody's going to call the cops because everybody expects somebody else is going to call the cops. Oh, there's so many people. Why wouldn't one of these 300 people call the cops?
What was that show where they would plan those little things? It was what would you do?
John Quinones.
Yeah. Yeah. I watched that and think, yeah, I'd be that guy that that stood up and said something.
Yeah. But so I guess that's the point. Be that guy. Don't be this guy. Be this guy. And I know we didn't even use it as an example in this, so I just meant that just realistically, just in general, in any way, if you can not be Declan, do that.
I agree, honestly.
So
his beard looks good though. It does look good. It's starting to really.
We're not going to be talking about beards today.
We does not include me. Beard. Just playing.
All right, we're going to be back. We're going to talk more with Mr. Joe Bradley about his awesome products, his company, his outlook on life, and all that stuff after this.
Bye.
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
And we're back! Why am I in such a good mood? Is it just because I had 40 milligrams of CBD?
Yes.
Could be.
Yes.
So this is, well, I guess technically this is our second time doing this segment that we should have been doing from the first place, but Joe, this is going to be your favorite part because this is where we just talk about you and how awesome you are, your products, your company. Give me some Joe philosophy.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
Bradley's brand. When did you start?
So we started Bradley's brand in 2014.
Okay.
I had owned with a partner, I'd owned another e-liquid manufacturing business in the back of Big Daddy Vape in Chandler.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
And so we just kind of got our start making his house juice, and then we started getting customers, everywhere. And once I went to, what was it? It was the first Vape Dynasty. Went to the first Vape Dynasty. We were there with the vape shop, and somebody presented CBD to me. And he just said, hey, can you make this vapable? And we just poured the oil into the e-liquid and vaped it, and we could feel it instantly. So it was like, well, yeah, now we need to have CBD
I want to do
e-liquid.
this.
Yeah, I want to do this. And then while I was talking to the guy, somebody came up and they were like, hey, your beard is amazing, and I'm like, oh, thanks. I use beard oil.
What did we say about talking about beards?
Oh, yeah. We didn't agree to that, but I agree that you agreed to it.
what did I say?
Yeah. You said
I'm totally kidding.
You're good. So we were talking about beard oil, and he goes right in the thing. He goes, could you put CBD in that? And instantly I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, why not?
CBD in everything.
Yeah, I could put CBD in everything. Well, that's actually what happened.
And then this guy walked up with a cheeseburger, and he was like, hey, so.
Yeah, I can put CBD on that, too. It's in mustard. So we basically, I went back to my partner. I said, hey, we need to move to making beard oil and CBD liquid. And he was like, you're an idiot, And everybody around me was like, you're an idiot. And it just became, there's no market for it. Nobody's selling it. And in my head, it's like, well, yeah, that's the reason. We're here. We had come late to the game. When I got into the e-liquid game, I'm like, I know it's got a couple years till the regulations come out. I'm gonna try to make my money, and I love it. I'm passionate about helping people quit smoking. CBD, same thing. I was really passionate about how it helped people, almost like a secret sauce. Like folks with fibromyalgia and things that doctors are telling them they can't help them with. Immediately, this stuff was helping them, so it blew my mind. So my partner didn't want it anyway. I sold my half to him. Started Bradley's brand in 2014. And I immediately got an investor in Kentucky. He owned a hemp farm, and so our supply was taken care of. And from there it was like, well, this makes sense because now every CBD company that I see out there is a middleman. And so for us, it presented an opportunity to learn so much more about what it was we were putting into it. And I just became in love with the science. The fact that, no joke, it's not even holistic science. It's the pharmaceutical science that we use now. It's hitting the same pathways that the medications have been hitting for years, but synthetically. And so, from a natural standpoint, it's just the limits to this are endless. So that being said, we started with our CBD e-liquid, and back then it was the first and only one in Arizona. And I can't confirm it, but one of the things that's kind of given us our growth was that we developed the first ever CBD isolate e-liquid. Not for Bradley's, but I did it for another publicly traded company, a marijuana company. And then that led to that company kind of closing down, and then Isodial is a big supplier that we started doing private label formulations for. So here we were doing formulations for 30, 40, 50 brands, and Bradley's was still very small because I'm shackled to the lab. So after a couple of years, I pitched it to Isodial that, hey, if we're capable of making all these formulas for you, let's just do it full time. And it was a perfect marriage. They came in, they've really boosted our abilities. Now we have a chemist that's full time that I can transfer all of my stuff to, and he can help us grow beyond our wildest dreams. The candy is just the beginning. So our e-liquids, we have 6 flavors, and now we have 3 strengths, 120, 250, 500. And they're, the philosophy of Bradley's was trying to give you the true amount of CBD. So we're using a 99% CBD isolate. It's completely THC free. And then when we say 500 milligrams, it's legitimately 500. It's probably more because when someone tests a bottle, that bottle could be sitting. It could have, sediment could be some areas, it could be stronger in others. typically pretty uniform, but we fill all the way to the top, so it's more than 30 mils. And we put 10% extra to make sure we hit those potency targets. So you buy a 500, you might be buying a 580 or a 530. So we're always taking care of the consumer. The price point for Bradley's has always been the best.
Yeah.
I've always striven, to make, I'm hyper focused on the consumer.
Yeah.
Because I'm the consumer, and that's why I put my name on it. And everything that has Bradley's on it is what I vape and what I used for years. As a matter of fact, all of these were my all-day vape as I was designing formulas for other companies. So when somebody was like, hey, I need a 11-pound kick, I'm like, cool, yeah, I'll give you the best one. Well, I didn't really give him the best one, because the best one, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, I'll give him the
I'll give him the second best one.
So let me throw some controversy in here. I have a problem with some of your liquids here.
Okay.
Mainly that the 6 that you're currently selling are not my favorite one.
That's fine. Dreamboat Float.
Where is Dreamboat Float? Is it coming back? When can I get it?
Okay, so sneak peek at Dreamboat Float. Remember, there's a lot of people that love Dreamboat Float, and there's a lot of companies that are following the FDA guidelines 100%, and there are some bigger companies than me that like Dreamboat Float. So I pulled it for a little while because I'm talking to some people about it, and more importantly, I don't like having a flavor out that I don't have the same flavor in CBD. So because Dreamboat Float reacts with the CBD, it causes a red reaction. Okay. So there's nothing dangerous about it. It's not a separation.
It's just discolored.
It's just when you pull the dropper out, there's a lot of globbies, and that's not, it didn't pass muster. So
that makes sense.
It got pulled for a while, and I kind of like that it's like the McRib, everybody's asking
right.
about it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I was going to say, like, when it's coming back, if you just, have a little laying around or something like that.
I have some laying around. I'll bring some for you.
Yeah.
Cool.
You should.
Yeah.
Love that
sure.
stuff. So I just want to stress, I'm not saying that his other flavors are garbage or anything like that. It's just like root beer floats when I was a kid, like the actual root beer floats. That was like my favorite thing. You know? So like
we managed to make it taste like root beer candies. Yeah. Just it was a freak accident one day. As a matter of fact, somebody was trying to get me to make the perfect root beer recipe, and I couldn't please the dude. And finally, I'm like, I'll just do this. And he's like, this is the best thing ever. And and
it was right.
So there we go. Yeah.
So I'll say, as a juice maker, like, more often than not, when I try other people's stuff, I'm just like, yeah, I don't like that. And in the times that I do like something, I usually won't admit it, but like that flavor is so good that I would feel like I was doing a disservice if I didn't say how good it was.
Thank you. I'll bring you some next time.
Please do.
Yeah, for sure.
Excellent.
We actually we also don't have Kentucky Punch out here because it's one of our top selling flavors, so they're sold out.
Yeah,
so.
for the most part, when we put products up here, we just take them off the shelf at Gourmet to put them up here. There is none at Gourmet right now because y'all bought it. So
good job.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. So yeah, the last one is Kentucky Punch, which is a red apple strawberry watermelon. That was our first flavor, and we can't get rid of it. The thing was, when we first came out with it, my philosophy with vape was, well, everybody else is using synthetic flavors, I'll use natural. And so what we did is we worked with a company to give us the natural ingredients to make that flavor combo unique, and I don't use any sweeteners in that one either. So there was a time 3 years ago that I'm like, I'm going to switch it up, I'm going to put sweetener in it, I'm going to make it a little bit more, and everybody hated it.
Yeah.
So we went back, and I haven't been able to, it's been this iconic thing for us.
No, it's solid. Like that one, what is it, Hanky Panky?
Right, yeah,
Super
strawberries
good.
and cream yogurt.
Yeah. 3 Hour Tour.
Yeah, that one's
also
the most
a favorite.
unique. Yeah, that one's one of my favorites.
Which is fun. It was our least performing flavor for the last 3 years, and it only typically appealed to an international palate. But I think you're starting to see a lot more melons come out. Maybe it's the summertime or whatever, but yeah, man, we're starting to see 3 Hour Tour.
Well, I think people so I had something similar happen with my stuff. I had my Annihilation line, right? So I had 2 flavors on it that were dessert flavors, and I was just like, man, like, these are going to be the bangers off this line.
Right.
Early 2016 when I put it out, I was like, these 2 flavors are going to take over. I put a couple fruit flavors on there that were good, but like, I felt like they were equivalent to a lot of other fruit flavors out there. Instead, for the first almost 2 years that line was around, the 2 fruit flavors were the big sellers, and it's just within the last 3 or 4 months people are finally starting to realize like the dessert flavors are really good too.
Yeah, it's such a weird swing to try to
the way I justify it, because I'm arrogant, so I have to like do something to justify my ego. I was just ahead of my time.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
People 2 years later, everyone else is finally figuring it out now.
Yeah.
So.
I constantly have the issue where I'm in the shower, I have a shower thought, and I'm like, I could revolutionize the meat industry, Like, whoa, mind blowing. And then I tell the one person, and then I get the, you're an idiot. So, You know, the one thing I'll say is that with all 6 of our flavors, they were actually meant to be kind of that you have something for everybody's range. Right when you come into vaping or an experienced vapor, you know, like our apple butter cake and lemon pound cake are what I tell people the more experienced vapor likes, because there's 26 flavors and 16 flavors that make up that one. So depending on the heat range, your cotton, your coils, I mean, it could be whatever. For
that
me,
drastically affects the flavor of stuff too.
Yeah. Like, I even know that with lemon pound cake on the Aegis, or how do you pronounce it? Is it Aegis?
Aegis? That's what I thought.
Yeah, I like that better than Aegis.
Right.
Aegis sounds like one of your ugly friends that's hanging out with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I even like it at 60 watts on this mod. Tastes different than 60 watts on any of my others. So yeah.
Right.
Other than that, we used to have a whole line of beard oil products. We're talking about beards again. Salt scrubs, sugar scrubs. If you ever saw us at an expo, if you ever came to Vape Dynasty, we would have all those products out, and our vape would actually underperform our beard oils. They would sell out. Our sugar scrubs, everybody loved.
I don't know if you remember, I actually bought some beard oil from you at, was it 2015 or 2016?
Probably 2015.
It was one of those two.
Yeah.
But I got some beard oil from you, and I used it and I enjoyed it, and then I cut my beard off.
Well, now it's growing again, so you should do it.
No, it sits at about this length.
Yeah.
You know, it's long enough that like I would use oil on it, but like the hair that you see now is going to be entirely gone, replaced by new hair in 2 weeks.
Right.
So
why would you want to use CBD in your beard oil? The one thing I'll tell you is that obviously the beard oils have all sorts of oils that are good for your skin and hair, but the CBD oil itself is rich in omegas that are pretty much the building blocks of healthy skin and hair. And again, why it's called Bradley's brand is I developed my own beard oil recipe for me. And as you can see, it grows like wildfire.
yeah, why it's called Bradley's brand is because his last name is Bradley's, and it's a brand.
Yeah, it is a brand of Bradley's. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I'll tell you real quick why I call it Bradley's brand. And there is out of all of my 32 SKUs of vape, there's one SKU that has jokes hidden on it. So, and it goes back to the origin of the name.
Okay.
Mitch Hedberg. Remember Mitch Hedberg?
Sure.
King of the one-liner. Not that he's king, but anyway. He had this thing where he talked about Reese's. And his thing was like, he's like, I don't like Reese's because what if I'm eating them one day and some guy comes along and takes them from me because his name is Reese? You know, like, and he executed the joke much better than I did. You too, Mitch Hedberg, Reese's joke. And so I just thought, I'm like, well, if I ever have a brand, I'm going to name it Bradley's so I can come up and take it from someone. You know.
So you heard it here first. When you buy any of these products, they are leased and not purchased. They can be revoked at any time.
Yeah, I am the repo man. So, yeah.
Awesome. Anything else you want to add?
Nope, I think we're good.
Thank you so much for, I was going to say thank you so much for having us, but thank you so much for showing up.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Of course,
yeah.
man.